Man, I'm turned. It is definite investing in. There's the disrespect again. My preacher's still developing. Just keep me on my medicine. Question when. All right, see, that's enough. That's enough right there. That's enough right there. All right, see, because see what happens with me, like, you know, I start to hear instrumentals, you know what I'm saying, and I just can't have to do that. But that is not why we here today. Yo, shouts out to Mo, you know what I'm saying? He's in here with me today, you know what I'm saying? We finna work this out, you know, so here's what we doing. Right? So VadaRealMC is in the house. It's your boy, Vada. I'm here. And a lot of people have been hitting me about having some sort of official podcast when it comes to boxing. So here's the thing. So sometimes, you know, we'll be talking straight boxing. You know, that's what we're doing tonight because we have a really big fight on this weekend. We got Danny Garcia, Shawn Porter. And sometimes we'll be doing the Is He a Real One podcast where we're talking about the how we can have a rational understanding of the Christian faith. But we won't be covering that stuff today. We won't be covering Is He a Real One radio, but VadaRealMC, we will be. It comes to Aerosmith, like a lot of people are saying, you know, that Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia are actually scared of Aerosmith, but I just think that's some, you know, fugazi nonsense, right? You know, because like we have to actually think about a couple things before we actually get to the Danny Garcia Shawn Porter fight. You know, it was a lot of buildup. It's a lot of build-up that comes into it, and the Errol Spence scenario does play into it because that everybody wants to see Errol Spence get tested. They want to see Errol Spence fight somebody who is of top caliber, and when the people who are of top caliber aren't rushing to fight him, you know, they're saying that they're actually scared, but we don't think they're actually scared, you know. And some of the people, if you're watching this right now on YouTube, you know, I'm sure that y'all see the YouTube channels, you know, who disagree with me. And I'll probably have them on. You know, I'll probably have some dialogue with some of those cats. You know, so shouts out to Dante's Boxing Nation. Shouts out to Ticket TV. I saw y'all interview with Kenny Porter. You know, y'all was really pressing the line with him and everything. You know, so we'll probably have some of all that stuff. But I'm just not of the belief that these cats are actually scared of Errol Spence. You know, I don't think that that's actually what's happening. I just think that, people need incentive to fight tougher fights, and just because you actually want to take some sort of, you know, I don't even want to say precautions. You just want to be mindful of how and when you take the more challenging fights. It doesn't mean that you're scared. For instance, Danny Garcia, the fight that's happening this weekend, he was not in a hurry to fight Shawn Porter. He was not in a hurry to fight Shawn Porter. Was he scared to fight Shawn Porter? No, but he needed more incentive. You know, I don't even think that fighting for an opportunity to fight Keith Thurman was enough incentive for him to fight Shawn Porter. But when they said, okay, this is going to actually be for the title because Keith Thurman got stripped, he officially got vacated, but I think we all know what actually happened with that. You know, then he's actually willing to take the fight. It doesn't mean he's scared of Shawn Porter. It just means he's not going to take that risk without the actual payday that's accompanied to it. So now he has a payday, and he has a belt on the line. He can get his belt back. So we're going to start out with the actual matchup, right? So according to Vegas, Danny Garcia is the actual favorite, right? So I'm not sure what the actual odds are, but Danny Garcia is the actual favorite. I'm actually picking Shawn Porter. But I'll tell you why. So we got Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is a great counterpuncher. So we can just kind of cover both of their strengths before we get to why I think Shawn Porter is actually going to win. So Danny Garcia, he is a great counterpuncher. I believe he's great with timing. He doesn't have the fastest hands in the world, but he's really great with timing. And like when you're actually boxing, and if you have good timing, that can make up for your speed. For instance, a lot of people feel like, yo, Floyd Mayweather is really, really fast because he would do all this defensive stuff. He would do all of this, but he really had really good timing, and he was really good at expecting the next punch. So this is why, if you actually look at some of his highlights or you actually look at some of the fights, you see him dodging certain punches before they even throw it. It's because he has a high boxing IQ, and he can tell from just your stance, it's only a certain amount of punches that you could possibly throw. And because he's been doing it for so long, For instance, like when we shadow box, you know, and we're doing all of these different punches and we're doing all of this, we're doing this so that it can be muscle memory, so that when we're actually in some sort of combat, we don't have time to think, and we just automatically know to throw an uppercut, throw a right hook, throw a left uppercut, etc., etc. And Floyd Mayweather, in his defense, he's been doing it so long, and he has such a high ring IQ that when he is in a certain position and he sees you, he knows that there's only a certain amount of punches or certain type of punches that you could possibly throw under any circumstances. So therefore, you'll see him dodging punches before you even throw it. Danny Garcia doesn't have that level of defense, but he does have a similar level of timing. And he will literally sit there and look at you. Danny Garcia is willing to stand there and look at you so that he can time you. He is a true counterpuncher. But the thing with Shawn Porter is so active, it's hard to time a person who is so active. For example, when Vasyl Lomachenko was fighting Guillermo Rigondeaux, I picked Vasyl Lomachenko not because of the size difference, because Lomachenko, he won, made it look easy, and he didn't even use his size. That's a topic for another day, because I feel like Lomachenko doesn't get enough compliments and he doesn't get enough credit for that victory. But the primary reason why I thought Lomachenko would win, and I turned out to be correct, is because Guillermo Rigondeaux is a defensive fighter and he doesn't have a high work rate, and he is a counterpuncher. But Vasyl Lomachenko almost never throws punches at the same speed throughout the course of a fight. You know, he almost never throws his jab at the same speed. He almost never throws a straight left hand at the same speed. He is very intentional with giving variations because, again, it's not always about speed. It's actually about timing. And it's nearly impossible for Guillermo Rigondeaux to ever time Vasyl Lomachenko because he mixes up his punching speed throughout the course of a fight. Shawn Porter doesn't necessarily mix up his punching speed per se, but he has very unpredictable feints throughout the fight. You know, everyone is going to be self-conscious who fights him, whether they admit it or not. They're going to be self-conscious about Shawn Porter rushing in because Shawn Porter has that style that's going to make you very uncomfortable. You know, he's going to rush in, you know, he's going to give you all of these feints of when he's actually going to come in. How do you time that? And then when he actually does get you on the inside, Shawn Porter smothers his own punches, but at the same time, it's hard for you to counterpunch him at the same time. You know, so if you're listening to this right now, you know, I don't think you can actually see a demonstration if I were to do it. But essentially, if Shawn Porter has you on the ropes, or he has your back against the wall, so to speak, you know, Shawn Porter does himself a disservice because he smothers his punches. And what I mean by that is, if he lands a good punch, you can't actually see the effect because he doesn't step back for a second so that the judges ringside can actually see that he landed a really, really, really clean shot. So sometimes that's a disservice to him. However, it's still going to be a positive for him if he's fighting an actual counterpuncher. And Danny Garcia is a counterpuncher. What does that mean? A counterpuncher means I'm waiting for you to throw a punch at me, and then whenever you throw a punch at me, I'm going to time it, and then I'm going to hit you. So that every time you throw a jab, I'm actually going to hit you with a jab. You throw a straight right hand, I'm probably going to deflect it and hit you with a straight left hand. A counterpuncher is a person who's waiting for you to throw a punch, and then when you throw a punch, they're going to counter you, right? And I find it very challenging to believe that Danny Garcia is going to successfully. I find it challenging to believe that he's going to successfully have a night of counterpunching Shawn Porter. A, because it's hard to time when he comes in, because he comes in throwing double, triple jabs. He doesn't just rush in, even though for some reason he has that reputation of just rushing in. It's always very strategic, but he comes in behind a bunch of jabs. And it's funny because, like, he doesn't even really try to hit you with the jab. He's literally just throwing the jab so that so that you can have something to think about because you know he's coming in. So I don't think that Danny Garcia will be able to successfully counterpunch him because A, he comes in with the double, triple, quadruple jab if he needs to. He has so many feints so you don't actually know when he's actually going to rush in. And also, Shawn Porter has such a high work rate. Danny Garcia doesn't have a high work rate. So therefore, I'm finding it hard to believe then Danny Garcia is going to come out on top. Now, I'll explain to you how I think Danny Garcia can come out on top, right? So if Danny Garcia comes out on top, I think it'll be because he landed clean and effective punches. I think that Shawn Porter has a style that is going to be extremely effective as long as he's good and as long as he's healthy, but I don't think that he'll be able to last long or last forever, at least at this style. He'll have to switch up his style, kind of similar to how you saw Floyd and Manny Pacquiao. He's still fighting, but when you see great people switch up their style a little bit. You know, you saw Kobe start to pass a little more when he got older and he started to get hurt, and he started averaging I think 8 to 12 assists per game for 15 games in a row. And then the reporters were like, yo, Kobe, we didn't know that you could do all of these Magic Johnson-like passes. And Kobe was actually offended because he was like, yo, I'm Kobe. I know how to do everything. Just because I wasn't choosing to do it doesn't mean I don't know how to do it. But he was so good that he knew how to switch up his game and when to do certain things. And then when he got healthy, he was like, I ain't passing no more. I'm just going to shoot and start dunking on people again, right? I was only passing because I wasn't good enough to get up 30, 40 shots. And this is what great athletes do. So I think that we'll see if Shawn Porter can actually adjust his game as he starts to get older or as he gets more fights under his belt and that wear and tear starts to show in his body, because again, I think he'll be really good the way that he fights. Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. I think that he'll be really good the way that he fights as long as he's good. However, one day, when the miles on that car start to add up, I think that the punches that he does take will start to add up. He took some really heavy shots against Keith Thurman. He took a couple shots from Andre Berto. Even when he doesn't get hit clean, he's still getting headbutt, or he's accidentally headbutting the person who he's fighting. All of this stuff adds up. And guess what? We're talking about the fights and the punishment, but Shawn Porter actually trains like this. I know Brandon Cannon Adams, he's actually on the Contender right now. Hey, what's up, y'all? So we got Fred of Barbershop Conversations right now on the line. He's actually in New York covering this fight that we're talking about. How you doing out there, Fred?
How you feel, King? What's poppin'?
Man, nothing much, man. Nothing much. We just doing some last minute reviews and taking calls and whatnot on this Danny Garcia Shawn Porter fight. And we out here. We want to know what you out there seeing. Now, but real quick, before you even talk, I know you were at some Danny Garcia open workouts while Shawn Porter was training. I think you went to the Porter High Performance Center a couple times. What are some of the things that you've been seeing throughout the camp?
I lost you. What was the question?
I said, what are some of the things that you've been seeing throughout the camp?
What I will say is, from both fighters, let's start with Shawn. For Shawn, I've noticed urgency in him. This is the first time where I've noticed a sense of urgency. He's always been described in boxing as a gentleman, God-fearing man, humble. You know what I mean? And in this fight, actually today was the first time he actually used a curse word on the Diaz, and so you can feel his hunger, you can feel his commitment to this fight. And as for Danny, he's as cool as the other side of the pillow, man. He 100% believes in his confidence. He believes in his preparation. He believes he's the better boxer. He believes he has the most power, and he ultimately believes that that skills pays the bills.
Wait. So were you at an open workout today and you were interviewing Shawn? Like what was that when you say he actually dropped the cuss bomb because he's so urgent? Like, where exactly were you guys at?
Oh, he said, Danny Garcia, can I curse or no?
Nah, don't curse. But I'm saying.
Okay, all right. Danny Garcia said this is a new chapter of his career, and Shawn Porter rebutted him saying this is about to be the shortest age chapter of your career. And I was like, oh, Shawn Porter?
Wait, so was it a press? So it was a press conference? Where were you?
Oh, yeah, it was a press conference. Yeah, it was the final press conference.
Oh, okay, that's nice. That's dope stuff. That's dope stuff. And what were you see? I saw some of your videos at Danny Garcia's open workout. You know, so I know you said Danny's like as cool as the other side of the pillow, but what about shape-wise? They both seem in shape. I know this is a common question, but, you know.
Danny's gonna surprise a lot of boxing fans tomorrow by how strong he is.
Gotcha.
He will.
Gotcha.
He's wiry strong. He's football strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same with like picture Dennis Rodman guarding Karl Malone. You know, people say, "Oh, he can't guard Karl Malone. He bench presses 400 pounds, pushes trucks down the street. He's a black cowboy. He's the strongest man in the world." But when in actuality, in a basketball game, Dennis Rodman did a great job. You know, when the Bulls defeated them in the NBA Finals. You know, most notable Michael Jordan's flu game. You know.
Hey, so
you know.
Hey Fred, before we let you go, we know you're going to another event right now. Thanks for talking to us right now, but
all the time.
But before we let you go, so when is the weigh-in hasn't happened yet at the time we're talking?
Weigh-in is tomorrow at 1:00, so 10:00 California time.
Okay, cool. All right, no doubt, man. All right, well, you know, live from the field. You know, he's on the battlefield, y'all. He's at the press conferences, the weigh-ins. He's gonna be at the fight. We got Fred from Barbershop Conversations. Make sure y'all check out his YouTube channel, Barbershop Conversations. He has a lot of really dope content. How can we follow you on Instagram and stuff too?
Oh, thank you, appreciate you. Silent Hero, SILENTHEROS, and V, hit me anytime. Hey.
That part.
Hit me anytime, man. Anytime you need me, don't hesitate. Shoot me a text and like this. I'll respond and we'll get it done in the next 10 minutes or so. You know what I mean?
No doubt, man. Hey, man. Let's do it.
All
right, y'all. So that was Fred from Barbershop Conversations. He called us in. Or he called in with us, you know, to kind of report some stuff that he's seeing. So, again, the fight is at Barclays Center in Brooklyn this weekend. And he's actually out there right now at all of the press conferences. He's at the weigh-in. He's going to be at the weigh-in. He's going to be at the fight. And we might even talk to him to get what he got from his experience being there ringside. But, so, all right. So, when I was saying some of the things that I think Danny Garcia has to do, I actually didn't mention Shawn Porter's actual strength, maybe because that's something that I think is at Shawn Porter's advantage. So before I even make that argument, Fred actually mentioned that. He said that Danny Garcia is going to surprise a lot of people because of his strength. So for those listening, so if you know boxing, then you know that Shawn Porter, excuse me. So if you know boxing, you know that Shawn Porter has a lot of physical strength. You know, he's an athlete. He's a former football player. And when he rushes people, you know, he kind of has a bulldozing reputation of just running over his opponents, even though it's in a fight. And Danny Garcia is a smaller guy. You know, he moved up not too long ago to the 147 division. So, like Shawn Porter, he probably really should be fighting at 154. The only reason he isn't is because the guys at 154 are just so big, right? But when all of those really big giants move to 160, Shawn Porter might happily go to 154. It's just the guys there are just so big, his style just won't fit there. But he probably really should be at 154. And Danny Garcia can probably still make 140. So they're meeting at 147. So it's natural to believe that Shawn Porter has more physical strength. And when I cover some of the reasons why I think Shawn Porter is going to win, I'll mention that. But Fred actually touched on that. He said that we're going to be surprised by Danny Garcia's strength. He used a really good analogy because he talked about Dennis Rodman's strength and being able to contain Karl Malone. Karl Malone had a really big physique, and even though he's retired, he's still really buff, you know, and Dennis Rodman is more slender. You know, he has like the athletic type, but it's like a wiry type of strength. Even like me, you know, like I don't, like you can't tell when I have on shirt that I might have muscles and I might appear buff, but the fact of the matter is I'm actually in relatively good shape, you know, and if I lift my shirt up, you know, you'd be like, dude, like, dude, you get what I'm saying? So, you know, but I don't come off as, yo, he's physically strong. And actually, when I used to have physical confrontations in the street, the first thing somebody gonna try to do with me is try to pick me up. I already know that. You know, so anytime I was in a fight, if I could bite you, I'm gonna bite you. Yes, I'm gonna bite you because you already breaking rules by picking me up, right? So we obviously ain't boxing. It ain't no rules. If you don't pick me up, my face ain't gonna be close to your rib to bite you. So that's your fault. You know what I'm saying? And if I can get in a position to actually pick you up, I will. And that's happened several times, right? So Danny Garcia, Fred is saying that Danny Garcia has like a wiry strength, a surprising strength. And what's important about that type of strength is it can actually stop momentum. So we'll see. We'll see. I think that Danny Garcia is underrated when it comes to strength. But in summarizing what I think Danny Garcia has to do to win, I think he'll just have to be himself, but more importantly, keep his poker face so that when he does end up in the trenches with Shawn Porter, because that's going to happen, just make it look clean. Make it look clean. But here's why I'm picking Shawn Porter, because Shawn Porter has 2 losses on his record, but he has 2 losses against really big welterweights, Kell Brook and Keith Thurman. Both of those fights were really competitive. Both of those fights were close. And both of those fights, Kell Brook and Keith Thurman both have a lot of physical strength and that I don't think Danny Garcia has. Why is that important? Because, again, Shawn Porter, he stays on top of you consistently. He stays on top of you, and you can't get him off of you. And he doesn't stay on top of you like Mexican fighters. See, people like to say he has the same type of style as Maidana or Cesar or Chavez Sr. or these famous Mexican fighters who come forward. That's not what Shawn Porter does. Shawn Porter is athletic. He has really fast feet, and he uses his explosiveness and his athleticism to stay on top of you, and there's nothing you can do about it, no matter how hard you hit. Keith Thurman had to load up on almost every punch just to keep Shawn Porter honest. He was loading up. He was throwing those one time, and he didn't drop Shawn Porter. But he kept landing those punches. He kept welling those punches at Shawn Porter. Why? Because he had to. He didn't want to keep. I'm not sure if anybody listening has ever if anybody listening has ever actually hit the heavy bag. But when you're tired, it's hard to hit that bad boy with your strength. It's hard to still load up on punches when you actually feeling tired, and Keith Thurman had to load up on punches because Shawn Porter just wouldn't stop coming. Kell Brook didn't have to do that because he strategically held Shawn Porter. That was Shawn Porter's first loss. Kell Brook would hit him and hold him the whole fight for 12 rounds. The referee didn't stop it, so Kell Brook just hitting him, hold him. I'ma move. I'ma hit you, hold you, and I'ma move. Shawn Porter come in, hit you, hold you, and I'ma move. It was nothing Shawn Porter could do. Shawn Porter learned from that, and ever since that fight, it's very hard to clinch Shawn Porter because Shawn Porter understands that is what lost him that fight. Because Kell Brook kept hitting him, hold him, hitting him, hold him. It wasn't an exciting fight to watch, but Kell Brook got the victory. But here's the thing. Kell Brook is physically strong enough to hold Shawn Porter. Danny Garcia isn't. Keith Thurman wasn't even physically strong enough to hold Shawn Porter. Now, if Keith Thurman would have been the first to try to employ that game plan of hitting, holding, maybe he would have been able to do that. But Kell Brook already did it. Kell Brook already did that to Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter learned from it. And ever since then, Shawn Porter has these techniques of breaking clinches. So when you try to hold him, no matter what, he has a way of either moving to the side and then staying working, and he's going to shoe shine your body and stuff. You try to clinch him, he's going to move to the side, or he's going to break apart. He's going to do all of this stuff. He doesn't accept the clinch. And Keith Thurman was having a hard time clinching. So what did Keith Thurman do? He had to load up on his punches. Whoom, whoom. Now, Keith Thurman got the victory. Congratulations to Keith Thurman. But I'm not sure Danny Garcia has the physical strength to keep Shawn Porter honest. Okay? I mean, Kell Brook was physically strong enough. He was physically strong enough to hold him. Keith Thurman was physically strong enough to stand up and not get bulldozed over. And even though he couldn't hold him, he was physically strong enough to stand upright and to just weld these punches to keep Shawn Porter honest. I think Danny Garcia hits hard enough to keep Shawn Porter honest, but I think that Danny just isn't, his hands aren't fast enough. He's a pure counter puncher, and I don't think that I don't think he has a high enough work rate to outshine Shawn Porter when Shawn Porter gets on the inside, because he's going to get on the inside. And here's another thing I want to say about Shawn Porter, y'all, because people tend to think that he just comes in and he just follows you. That's people who don't know boxing. And, well, let me not say that, because it's people who know boxing who say that about Shawn Porter, but they're wrong, right? Let me tell you why they're wrong. Because he doesn't just rush in. It's a lot of meticulous strategic planning that goes into that. Shawn Porter will rush in at you and try to be on the inside, then he'll fall back. Then he'll actually be on the back foot for a good 45 seconds. He'll be backing up. Then it's like, oh snap, I got Shawn Porter backing up. Maybe I hurt him. Then he rushes back in. Then he'll box you. He'll try to do some stuff, and he'll just move him to the side, throwing some jabs, throwing some little baby punches, and you think, okay, this is a cute little boxing match. Then he rushes back in. See, he does so many different things. Go watch the Shawn Porter Paulie Malignaggi fight. Go watch the Shawn Porter Paulie Malignaggi fight, and you will see Shawn Porter mixing up the looks, and this is what he does consistently. He doesn't just rush in and follow you. Like people say, Triple G, he's an inside fighter. First of all, he's not an inside fighter. He's a mid-range fighter, but he wants to keep you at his range. But people think Triple G just follows people around the ring. No, he doesn't. He makes the ring really small with his presence, with his ring generalship. And he creeps on you, and he makes it feel like you in a ring that's the size of a credit card, because he has that type of presence. Shawn Porter is more active than Triple G. He doesn't just stalk you; he stays on you, but he mixes it up. So I don't want anybody thinking that Shawn Porter just rushes in on his opponents. He's very meticulous with mixing up how and when and how long. Now, here's the thing. One of the reasons why I think Shawn Porter lost to Keith Thurman, even though that fight was really close and some people think Shawn Porter won, is because Shawn Porter, like I mentioned earlier, he smothers a lot of his punches. So again, if he's on top of you and he's throwing all these punches and they're all landing, the judges might not really get a chance to see how effective his work is being. So if the person who Shawn Porter is fighting lands one punch that looks clean, they might give that round to his opponent. But the thing is, I think Shawn Porter learned from that. Just like he learned from the Kell Brook fight. And he now makes it nearly impossible to hold him. I think that he has learned from that, and he'll probably shoe shine a little bit and then back off. That's what I think he'll do. I think that he'll make the fight really uncomfortable, land some good punches, and maybe just move to the side. Maybe he won't give you breathing room so that you can be like, whoo, okay, this guy's off me now. Maybe he won't do that, but he'll get on you, then move to the side, giving you a different look. Then move back to the front, move back to that side, then move to the other side. He's athletic enough to do that. He does all of these meticulous foot workouts where he can do that. He doesn't have footwork like Lomachenko, but he does have footwork, And I think he's talented enough to do that. Shawn Porter has a lot of things that people don't even point out. Like, people don't point out his massive athleticism, and they don't point out his punching power. So these are reasons why I think Shawn Porter's going to come out on top. Excuse me. Another reason why I think Shawn Porter's ultimately going to come out on top is I think that he can take Danny's punches better than Danny will be able to take his. The reason I say that is because I just think that Shawn will do a lot of work. I think that he will be very active. And I just think that these things will get Shawn Porter the victory. That's just what I think. I'm going to take a call right now. From one of the Facebook groups where I'm doing a lot of Facebook boxing talk, Ned's Boxing Emporium. If I'm not mistaken, I think I got a call from Ned's Boxing Emporium. Hey, yo, what's happening? Who we got?
Yeah, this is Chris from Ned's.
What's up, Chris? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man.
Hey, so, and you in New Jersey, right?
I'm from Jersey, but I live in PA right now. I used to live in Philly for a little as well, but yeah, Northeast.
Okay. So I'm about to ask you about the Danny Garcia Shawn Porter fight. Are you biased since you out there in Philly, or like who you got and why?
I mean, I'm always gonna represent Philly, but if I'm gonna be unbiased, this is a hard fight to call. It's obviously this is as 50-50 as it comes. Both guys have good chins, and, you know, they both have that come-forward style. So it's really, like, I don't know. I have this, like, I'm leaning to Danny slightly, mostly because he just seems to benefit more when the boxer is coming forward. You know, we've seen that with guys like Matisse or Guerrero or Rios, you know, all these other guys. But Porter, he has a high work rate, so if Danny is smart, I think he's a little patient early on boxes. You know, watch for these headbutts and all that, and then if he can just somehow turn his work rate up in the late rounds, you know, I think that's his best bet. But it's really hard to call because, like I said, these are two smotherers. You know, they love to fight inside.
Hey, you going in and out, man? I can hardly hear you. You going in and out, bro? I can't hear you no more.
Okay. You hear me now?
I think so, yeah.
Right. But, I slight edge to Danny, but, you know, you never know with these styles. I wouldn't say a knockout would happen because of their chins, but if they sit in the pocket all night, you never know.
I mean, you never know, and, you know, and I said earlier, you know, I'm not sure Shawn Porter has a style that's, I think he'll be great as long as he's great, but as soon as he dwindles down a little bit, I'm not sure how good he'll be. Like, I'm not sure he'll be able to fight, you know, 2-3 years, like, down the line, at least not at this style, you know. So you never know when he turns down until he actually turns down, you know. So we'll find out on Saturday. So you say your slight edge is towards Garcia?
Yeah, slight edge.
Slight edge to Garcia. All right. Well, Chris, man, I appreciate your phone call. I appreciate you sharing us your insight, man, and we're gonna find out who's right.
All right, thanks for having me, bro. It's gonna be a good one.
All right, so we heard what Chris said. He's slightly going towards Danny Garcia. Here's another thing I didn't say, y'all. Here's another thing that I did not say as to why I'm picking Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter does good. He does really good against fighters that are smaller than him. If you look at his best performances, Devin Alexander, Paulie Malignaggi, Andre Berto was a good performance, but Andre Berto was older and he's tired, and he was in the middle of fighting Shawn Porter, and Andre Berto was just like, I don't need this in my life no more. I've been fighting for 28 years, okay? I don't need this no more. So Andre Berto was like, man, this is a wrap. Like, I don't need this. I'm not fighting this boy no more. But if you just look at Shawn Porter's greatest performances, it's against fighters who are naturally smaller, because Shawn Porter is used to fighting people who are naturally bigger. Granted, when he fought two big welterweights, he got losses on his records, but those guys were physically strong enough to have a certain type of game plan. And wait. Another thing Keith Thurman did that I didn't point out. When Keith Thurman fought him, yes, he was well in punches to keep him off of him. But Shawn Porter, every time he rushed in, y'all know what Keith Thurman did? Go watch the fight. He never backed up. He kept moving to the side. So he was backing up, but he backed up at like a triangular-like angle. So Shawn Porter would rush him, and Keith Thurman he'll back up, and he'll be moving to the side. That takes actual foot movement. Danny Garcia does not have the foot movement to employ that type of game plan or anything similar. Danny Garcia is going to be there to be boxed when Shawn Porter wants to box. He's going to be there to be bum rush when he wants to bum rush, and Danny Garcia can time him. But then again, guess what? It's hard to time Shawn Porter because he comes in with a quadruple jab if he has to. He comes in with feints, and you don't know. He'll come in with feints, and then he won't even come in at all. Like, he just gave you all of those feints, and then he didn't even come in at all. You know? So it's just hard. I just don't see it. I think that Shawn Porter will do really well against Danny Garcia. Paulie Malignaggi used to fight at 140. I think he fought at 135 too, if I'm not mistaken. Same thing with Devin Alexander, if I'm not mistaken. And these fighters aren't physically strong enough to nullify Shawn Porter, whether it be just standing upright, holding him like Kell Brook did, etc., etc. Shawn Porter is used to fighting people bigger than him. Like, his dad always talks about how he fought Willie Monroe, a champion contender at 160. He spars, I just told y'all, Brandon Cannon Adams, who's on the contender right now, fighting at 160. I believe he beat Usyk, the undisputed champion at cruiserweight right now, who's probably going to move up to heavyweight if he can't secure a fight with Tony Bellew. He fought, who else? Danny Jacobs. He fought bigger people his whole life. So when he fights somebody smaller, it's like, bro, you just can't withstand this. Even if Danny Garcia does really well, I just don't see him doing that well over 12 rounds unless Shawn Porter starts to get tired. But Shawn Porter usually never gets tired. Some fighters are just in great shape. Floyd Mayweather, Timothy Bradley Jr., Shawn Porter. Some fighters, you just don't see fatigue. Like, you just don't see him ever get tired. You might see Tim Bradley get reckless. You might see him face pressure. But the reason why Tim Bradley can get hit by Ruslan Provodnikov and he didn't fall or he was able to get up is because he has really strong legs, right? I'm not sure if y'all really know boxing and how the body works. If you hit me and I'm going zzz, and I want to fall, if I have really strong legs, they'll hold me up. They'll hold me up. So this is why Shawn Porter didn't fall against Keith Thurman. This is why it's hard to see fighters like Tim Bradley, Floyd Mayweather, Shawn Porter. I'm sure it's other fighters who we never, ever, ever see get tired. But those are three who just come to my head. They're just in great shape. They're just in great shape. And I think Shawn Porter's in great shape. Danny Garcia tends to do much better in the second half of the fight. But Shawn Porter is not the type of fighter you want to have a slow start with. He's just not. He's just not the type of fighter that you want to have a slow start with. And I think that if he has a slow start against Shawn Porter is going to switch that style up. Danny Garcia, I think it's going to be competitive, but I think Shawn Porter is going to win very convincingly. Very convincingly. Another thing, and we're going to talk a little bit about Canelo and Triple G and the Jacobs-Derevchenko fight, but another thing as it pertains to Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter, is if you look at the Lamont Peterson-Danny Garcia fight, I thought Lamont Peterson won that fight, but I'm not mad at the judges for giving it to Danny Garcia because I told y'all earlier why judges tend to give him rounds. Danny Garcia has a similar style to Canelo in that sense where it just looks really clean. So even when they're losing, it looks clean. So from a judge's perspective, it's easy to give them rounds. I thought Danny Garcia lost to Lamont Peterson. But here's the thing. Lamont Peterson, he pressed the fight, then he started moving around the ring. So it was 6 rounds of pressing, 6 rounds of just moving around the ring. I actually think he moved around the ring at first, and then he started pressing the fight to him. I think that's how it went. But nevertheless, Danny Garcia couldn't control the fight. Either way, when Lamont Peterson was moving around the ring for 6 rounds, it was nothing he could do. Shawn Porter has the ability to do that, although he chooses not to for the most part. Then Lamont Peterson pressed the line. He completely caught him off guard and was like, okay, after 6 rounds, I'm going to be in your face. What's happening? And there was nothing Danny Garcia could do. I thought he lost that fight clearly. And let me tell you something. Shawn Porter's pressure is a lot more antagonizing and stressful than Lamont Peterson's. Danny Garcia beat Brandon Rios by knockout, but before the knockout, I didn't think he was clearly outclassing Brandon Rios. I thought he was winning. I thought it was a clear victory, but he wasn't outclassing him. Tim Bradley did much better against Brandon Rios than Danny Garcia did. And I think that Shawn Porter's pressure is much more systematic. Brandon Rios just follows you around. I'm just going to follow you around. I'm just going to follow you around. Fight me, punk, fight me. That's Brandon Rios. Shawn Porter isn't just going to follow you around. He's going to jump around. He'll do a zigzag. Shawn Porter will do a hopscotch to get inside if he need to. Hop, bop, bop, boom. Now I'm right here in your chest. He'll do whatever he has to get into your chest. And I just don't see Danny Garcia being able to sustain that. I think Shawn Porter will win by unanimous decision or a late stoppage. I don't think he'll get a stoppage, though. I'll be surprised. I think Danny Garcia has too much pride to let himself get stopped. I'm certain he won't get knocked out. Because here's the thing, man. Like, people see Shawn Porter and they make adjustments. And I think he'll make enough adjustments to survive, but I think Shawn Porter will win a competitive but clear unanimous decision. So that's what I think about Danny Garcia versus Shawn Porter. I think that Shawn Porter will be a 2-time welterweight world champion, and then we'll go to Shawn Porter versus Errol Spence. And, you know, as of right now, I mean, let's not even talk about that fight because Shawn Porter still can lose, and, you know, and I'll cover that fight at that point. But I think that'll be a very interesting fight. Shawn Porter is not scared of Errol Spence. I'm not sure Shawn Porter will be, well, I know he won't be the favorite when it comes to Vegas odds, but it's a closer fight than people think. But I'll break that fight down if and when it actually happens. Win, lose, or draw, I hope Danny Garcia fights Terrence Crawford, though, because they have history, and I would love to see that fight because they actually have history. So that's what I think. I think Shawn Porter is going to win a competitive but clear unanimous decision against Danny Garcia. And I think that the next week, you know, we got Canelo versus Triple G. Next week, I can cover that fight more in depth. That's going to be a really good fight. Canelo Alvarez, they fought literally a year ago. Triple G, he fought earlier this year. Canelo didn't because, you know, he got in trouble for that tainted meat, you know. I don't know. I be eating tacos from the corner, too, and I ain't tested positive for steroids. You know, Canelo, he looks like he's in good shape, but his jaw does look smaller. I ain't saying he was on something, but he does look different. He does look different. I'm not going to lie, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how Canelo looks. I think that if Canelo cannot lose stamina, if he can actually just keep his stamina up, I think he'll win. But next week we'll break that fight down up in greater detail. Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G. That's going to be a good fight. They have a lot of bad blood, and the undercard is actually pretty lit, man. They got a lot of people on there, so we'll see what's happening. And also, we got Danny Jacobs fighting in a few weeks. He's fighting for the IBF middleweight world title. He's fighting Derevchenko. People don't really know who that is, but he's a really good fighter. And let me tell you something, that's not a walk in the park for Danny, y'all. So if you're putting your money on Danny Jacobs just because you know him and you don't know the other guy, think twice. That's a really good fight. That's a really good fight. It's some other fights coming up. Anthony Joshua's fighting Povetkin. Everybody's talking about Joshua versus Wilder. They're saying Joshua's ducking Wilder. That's another thing that I disagree with my counterparts that's out here on YouTube. I disagree with y'all. Is he in a hurry to fight Wilder? No, but y'all are being way too hard on Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, in my opinion. Way too hard. It's extraordinarily biased how y'all treating Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn right now. And also, y'all act like he's ducking Deontay Wilder to take an easy fight. He's fighting Alexander Povetkin. He might lose. He might lose. That is not an easy fight. Y'all like he fighting, you know, I don't know, Dominic Brazil again or something. This is a really tough fight. That's a really tough fight. On another show, we can probably break that fight down in greater detail. Who else is fighting, man? I'm trying to think. It's some other good fights. Kell Brook talking about coming back to 147. Bro, stay at 54, man. Look, Kell Brook, you one of my favorite fighters, man. All right? You went up. You fought Triple G at a time. Nobody wanted to fight him. You know what I'm saying? And you get credit for your effort in that fight. In fact, you gave the rest of the world a lot of confidence to fight him. That's awesome. Shouts out to you. Then you came down from 160 back down to 147 when you probably shouldn't have, and you fought Errol Spence because people were saying you were scared. I never thought you were scared, but you wanted to prove that you weren't. It was a good fight. I thought you were winning that fight until your eye socket got broke. And I don't think your eye socket would have ever gotten broke if you didn't fight Triple G in the first place. You had no business fighting Gennady Golovkin, bro. You fight at 147. You never fought at 154 or 160. Wait, I'm lying. I think you did fight at 154 early in your career. But that's not the point. The point is you didn't campaign at 54. And you went to 160 and you fought the boogeyman. Okay, you showed you had heart because you fought him like you thought you could win. You were winning on the scorecards. It was awesome. But, bro, I don't think you lose to Errol Spence if you didn't fight Gennady Golovkin. I think the reason you got that eye injury is because Gennady broke your other eye. Okay? So, of course, the other eye, I think anybody probably would have broke that other eye socket. I think if you would have fought Jesse Vargas after fighting Gennady Golovkin and he hit you with his straight right hand that is really hard, he probably would have broke your face, just like Earl Spence did. So you're ruining your career, man. So you went from 160 to show you was machismo. You came back down to 147 to show that you were machismo. And you see the fans still ain't happy. You know, I think Earl Spence, I don't think he deserves an asterisk by his victory against Kell Brook, but I think he deserves a footnote. Like, can we at least say, hey, he just fought Gennady Golovkin. He came right back down, and his very first fight back was against Earl Spence, and he was losing the first 5 or 6 rounds. He started winning after Kell Brook got an eye injury, which is influenced by his last fight with Gennady Golovkin. Like, can we at least say that? But no, we just act like Earl Spence just did an amazing job, which he did. But again, it's not an asterisk by that victory, but I think it deserves a footnote. I think it deserves a footnote. That's all I'm saying. And Kell Brook, bro, don't come down to 147 just to fight Manny Pacquiao or Amir Khan. I get it. You want the big fights. It's not no big fights at 54. But you got to do what you got to do, man. I mean, I don't know how much more the money is, but if this is just some vengeful thing because Amir Khan don't want to fight you unless you drain yourself to 147, you making yourself look desperate. I'm a fan talking to you. I'm talking to Kell Brook right now. Look, Kell, I have a lot of opinions about you that my counterparts here on YouTube, they will disagree with me. They will disagree with me vehemently. I'm talking to you right now. If you take the fight at 147, you look desperate. You look desperate for a big fight. You look thirsty. And I don't want to see you do that. You had a big fight in your hometown when you fought Earl Spence. It was beautiful, although you didn't come out on top. You know, if Amir Khan don't want to fight you at a catch weight, then forget him. He been dodging you for years. Make him look stupid by not fighting you. Like, come on, man. Like, and then you're going to make people say, well, he can make 147. He fought Amir Khan a couple years later, so you can't complain about being weight drained when you fought Earl Spence. You're ruining your legacy by taking this fight. And you might win, but I don't think I don't know. I don't think that's the weight class for you. Fight at 54. I know it's some really big guys at 54 who are too big for you, but they're going to be fighting at 160 soon. Jared Hurd, Mungaye, they're going to be in 160 within the next 9 months, man. It's going to be you, Jermell Charlo, and some other people who we don't really know right now. Laura's older. He's on his way out. Dude, campaign at 54, man. Campaign at 54. Those are my thoughts. Those are my rants, man. Amir Khan is also fighting this weekend. I forget the name of the guy he's fighting. Of course, I'm expecting Amir Khan to win. I'm hoping that Amir Khan can get some rounds in because he literally fought for 30 seconds in his last fight. He fought for like 30 seconds in his last fight because Phil Greco got out of there. Like, dang, man. Well, you got paid for it, bruh. I'm like, look, I think I can go longer than 30 seconds with Amir Khan. Amir Khan got some really fast hands, and I'm sure he has underrated power, but Amir Khan, I can go longer than 30 seconds with you, champ. I'm certain of it. I'm certain of it. Phil Greco, I'm not judging you, but that's what happened. So hopefully Amir Khan can go, you know, I don't know, at least 4 or 5 rounds. You know what I'm saying? At least 4 or 5 rounds against this guy. Get some rounds in, because after he fought Canelo Alvarez and got stopped, he's been out for a while. That's minutes. Okay. You know, so in closing, you know, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, that fight isn't announced. Eddie Hearn says he still has doubts if that fight is actually going to happen. We shall see. We shall see. I don't know. When that fight gets announced and it's more solidified, I'll do a breakdown of that fight. But again, y'all, look, I'm talking to YouTube right now. Stop being so hard on Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. Y'all are being so biased. From the very beginning of these negotiations, y'all have been notoriously on Deontay Wilder's side, and every single thing Eddie Hearn and AJ said, y'all been picking apart. That's the definition of bias. Okay, you mean to tell me Deontay Wilder and his people ain't did nothing wrong? Nothing? So Eddie Hearn, who keeps doing interviews, and Deontay Wilder, and I don't even want to say his name wrong, because Eddie Hearn call him Shelly Finkel. I don't know what his real name is. No disrespect. No disrespect. Blame Eddie Hearn, because he does more interviews than y'all, and he keeps saying your name wrong, so I don't know which one is his actual name. But they do more. Look, where I'm from, people who answer all the tough questions and give the same answer consistently, have some truth to it. Does that mean Eddie Hearn is being completely truthful? No. Are they in a hurry to fight Deontay Wilder? No. But we are being so biased right now, and it's just not fair. We need to be criticizing Deontay Wilder for fighting Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury been out for, what, 2 years? Then he came back and fought 2 people, and he didn't even look good against those 2 people who we never heard of. I believe both of them, I don't even think they were actual heavyweights. I actually think they were cruiserweights who moved up to heavyweight just to fight Tyson Fury. And I think one of them ain't even like a boxer full time. That's like me. I box, but I'm not no boxer full time. I don't belong in the ring with Terrence Crawford. Not in the ring. You know, maybe in sparring and training, sure, but not in a ring, okay? And if I do, Terrence Crawford should stop me, and I'm sure he would. And Tyson Fury, you know, now, I think it's going to raise Deontay Wilder's profile, fighting Tyson Fury if he gets the win, which is great, but he doesn't deserve that much credit if he beats him, you know. But anyway, so this is our show for the week, man. So this is the show on Danny Garcia, Shawn Porter. I'm picking Shawn Porter for the reasons that I've already said. Next week, we will be talking about Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin. And we got a lot of big fights, y'all. PBC got a deal with Showtime and Fox and Fox 1, so we're going to have a lot of fights. ESPN just re-upped their deal with Top Rank for 3 years. I think they're going to have like 20 or 30 shows in 12 months. So we have a lot of fights coming, y'all, in between Showtime, Fox, ESPN, and DAZN. So it's great to be a boxing fan. Hopefully all of these networks can still put together shows together and we can just enjoy good fights. So this is where we at. This is what it is. VadaRealMC is who I am. It's your boy Vada, and that's my thoughts. Amen.